CKN, baby. Cover Killer Nation, I am pissed. I am extremely irate at this moment in this stage of the game, mainly because I had a video planned for you guys yesterday, April Fool's Day, and I couldn't do it. Why couldn't I do it? I'm going to tell you exactly why I couldn't do it, and it was because I was going to review the same album I am about to review right now. I Am Not a Human Being, Part 2 by Lil Wayne, and this was my plan. My plan was very simple. I was going to praise the crap out of this album. I was literally going to shoot it to the moon, claim it to be the greatest thing that ever happened since Tupac, and then I was, of course, going to, turn the tides, reveal the fact that it was all bullshit, and start cursing the absolute crap out of it. Well, unfortunately, one thing happened that kind of kept me from doing this idea, and that was the fact that, I actually wanted to listen to the album first, just to be fair, and I didn't get the opportunity to do that last evening because I had to work. Now, that was the worst sentence ever. Wheezy would be proud of me. But now, here it is, day after April Fool's Day, April Fool's Day, April the 2nd, 2013, and I have come to realize that even the great comedic mind of Cover Killer Nation, the man who has infinitely a sense of humor that could be seen as all as infinitely patient and infinitely strange, even I could not have taken such a video seriously. Even I could not have done that. Especially now that I have listened to parts of this album. By parts of this album, I mean I've listened basically to about, a minute of each track of this album, and that's all that I needed. That's all that I could take. That's all that I could stand. Lil Wayne is respected. Let that sink in. Though for most of you, it already has. We've actually reached this level of tunnel vision as far as music is concerned, where we accept, even though we don't want to, that Lil Wayne is respected in the hip-hop community. He has been considered by some as the greatest rapper alive. He has been considered by many to be the great of this generation, to be this generation's Tupac, to be the voice of hip-hop of the current generation of people. I never really saw it, and after this album, I definitely do not fucking see it. Tupac would have never made an album like this that sounded so, bar none, disinteresting. And the reason why it sounds disinteresting to me as a consumer is because it sounds as though Lil Wayne doesn't give a fuck that he's there. He doesn't want to be there. He'd rather be out skateboarding or fucking some girl in the ass and claiming it to be coffee. Decaffeinated, of course. He'd rather be not a human being. He'd rather be an alien or a rhinoceros or a McDonald's cup or a toaster or a goddamn motherfucking Ice Cube. Well, he can't be Ice Cube because that's gimmick infringement. And secondly, why in the world, if you're not interested in doing the album, are you doing the son of a bitchin' album? You don't need to do an album. You don't need to release a mixtape every 3 months, a new single every month. You have enough problems of your own. You have plenty of problems of your own to deal with. First off, you have to deal with all the dumbasses that are wondering why the hell you're quitting rhyming in order to pursue skateboarding. And secondly, of course, there are your addictions. Now, is Cover Killer Nation guilty of being addicted to a couple of things? Yeah. Well, I can't show you that because I'm out, but yeah. I'm addicted to certain things, certain aspects of myself. Apparently, for a while there, whenever I was making plenty of angry videos, I seemed to be addicted to punishing myself. However, I've had kind of a nice little role lately where I haven't had to do that, so that's kind of cool. But Lil Wayne, you almost died because of cough syrup. Let me rephrase that in a way that doesn't sound absolutely ridiculous. You almost perished, kicked the bucket, pushed up daisies, flatlined because of cough scissor. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the number of people that you have no doubt gotten addicted to scissor is ridiculous in itself. But let's talk about this album. Let's talk about the goddamn thing. First off, it's over an hour long, which is just about, an hour too much. This album should be roughly about 15 minutes long. Now, the album starts off promising enough. It really does. It starts off with a piano interlude that one could discern was written by Wheezy himself. And if that's the case, then damn, for what we hear on the remainder of this piece of shit, he's actually quite talented as a piano player. Maybe he should just continue doing that. Once the rhymes begin, once the lyrics come into play, that is whenever you know that this album is actually taking a turn for the shit, literally and figuratively, right off the bat. Principally because this is an album that is raked with dick jokes, anal jokes, sex jokes, anything that has to do with the sexual arts will be mentioned on this album. You might as well just call this I Am Not a Human Being Because I'm Too Busy Fucking All the Time Part 2. And why do you need a Part 2 of this, really? Goddamn it, you have 4 fucking quarters. You need another series. This is a goddamn Harry Potter, for Christ's sake. This is goddamn music. The first one wasn't even that good. Why do you need a second one? Seriously. There's a number of things that I could talk about here. Firstly, let's talk about the guests that appear. People such as Soulja Boy, people such as 2 Chainz, people such as Nicki Minaj, Big Sean, Corey Guns, just to name a couple of them. Trina's another one. Gunplay. These are people that are trying their hardest to try to, bring this uncohesive piece of babble back to reality, as though to try to make this an album that is actually listenable to human beings. If you were literally trying to make an album that was unlistenable to human beings, you would have succeeded if this were your first album and nobody had heard of you before, because you'd have sold like 2 copies. But since everybody is already well-attuned, well-adjusted, and well-recognized to your style, they're well-adjusted to your style, this is something that will no doubt sell at least 500,000 copies in the first week. Justin Timberlake's third album, The 2020 Experience, sold close to 1 million. If this sells anywhere close, I'll be shocked, because those albums, night and fucking day. Timberlake's album up here, your album, is subterranean right now, because his was actually well put together, well thought out, and well performed, whereas yours sounds like you have the interest level of a baby who's being forced to learn thermodynamics. No baby is going to give 2 shits about thermodynamics. All they care about is crying and pissing and shitting, eating, playing with dolls, or playing with little stuffed animals. Goo goo gaga, goo goo gaga. Thermodynamics mean nothing to them. Just as though this album seems to mean to you. It means nothing. You're in a studio because that's just what you know, because you're leader of a crew, because you like to drink cough syrup, because you're Birdman's son, or whatever the hell that's really all about. And the result is that you feel distant from this recording. Wayne sounds very distant from this recording. He sounds as though he's just lingering in the background, and they're propping him up whenever he needs to sing or do his parts. And maybe even someone's moving his lips for him. I don't know. I wasn't there. But that's what it sounds like. The music on this is also very, very conceptually loose. Just as loose as all the women he rhymes about. Because these little glimmers of music that you can hear just break down right in the middle. There are random break points. There are random positions where it just flatlines considerably. It just is not cohesive. It's not something that flows well. The rhymes don't even flow well at some period of time. Now, I understand taking a little bit of liberalism whenever it comes to rhyming, but this is not it. Bottom line, Lil Wayne, if you want to retire that bad, just fucking do it, because after this album, there's really no place for you. You are easily replaceable in the rap game. There are plenty of people who are already doing it. Take a look at Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, Kendrick Lamar, just to name a couple. French Montana is going to be coming out. That has a little bit of hype behind it. Odd Future just released a new album. Not to mention there's people in your own crew that are cohesive enough to not fuck shit up like this. And yes, I'm even going to have to mention the name Drake. Because at least, even though his stuff just is, I just hate it. It at least sounds cohesive. It at least has a nice flow to it. It has a vibe that really can reach listeners. This does not. This just shows the decline that has occurred with Lil Wayne between the Carter 3 end right now. This just shows that Rebirth wasn't the only piece of shit this guy birthed. He also birthed I Am Not a Human Being, Part 1. He birthed a lot of mixtapes that just borrowed samples from other songs while he rapped over them. And not to mention the Carter 4's atrocity. The Carter 4's atrocity. Only 2 or 3 discernible songs on that album, and the rest of it bona fide trash. Most of you are probably wondering, if you're still watching this, I hope you are, why the fuck would you even do this, Cover Killer Nation? Why would you even touch this album? Haters are, of course, on this video like, you're a moron! What are you thinking? You're a retard! You are stupid! You don't understand what Wheezy's trying to go for here! Wheezy doesn't even understand what he's trying to go for here! Wake the fuck up! I wish someone could crack an egg over your skull and wake you up and make sure that you realize and understand that this is the planet fucking Earth, not Wheezyville! This album sucks. Period. ... ellipsis. The end. No reason to buy. No reason to consume. Lil Wayne, as far as the rap hierarchy go, you are no longer the rap mob boss. You are, pew, just another victim.